I'd like to welcome you to a live stream today. Women face a crossroads as they approach 60 or turn 60. They can choose to remain professionally active or withdraw from the workforce, or they can choose rest and recreation, or they can choose to give back through community involvement. There are so many more choices now than ever. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Paula Hope, Councillor of the Town of the Blue Mountains. Paula has always been described as a trailblazer and an independent and creative critical thinker. With a successful career as an international sales and marketing executive with world-class corporations, Paula has chosen to transition her leadership role to giving back through community involvement. Paula's role as the councillor of the Town of the Blue Mountains has given her the chance to put her values into action, which she is most grateful for. Welcome, Paula. I'm honored to have you as my guest today.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here with you, Patricia. I think this is a wonderful topic. Thank you for leading it.
It is, isn't it? Paula, we've spoken many times, but I'd like to speak to you today about what do you find is fulfilling, especially in this role as a municipal councillor. I hear that it's very hard work and a demanding role. How does it compare to being a corporate leader or a corporate executive?
Well, it is a fulfilling, it is a demanding role. I have been, of course, a corporate leader at a time when women were not corporate leaders, with all those challenges pre this century. And so there's a lot there's a lot to that role, and I knew it to be very demanding, especially as a mom as well. But being a municipal councillor is that much more demanding. So I have said it's the hardest role I have ever taken on in my life.
Is that right?
Yes, because your job is 24/7. I guess as a mom, your job is 24/7, but you get some sleep. Whereas you're always on show as a municipal councillor. You've always got to be aware of it. And you've always got to be listening, and you've always got to be ready to step up, whatever may be required of you. And that could be over peaches at the grocery store. So it is a very demanding role, as you have to be up for it. And what I find so fulfilling is that I've been able to use all my skills, all my learning, and all of my sort of personal strength to fulfill that role. So it's wonderful when we speak about being over the age of 60 and being able to pull on your experience and your learning, as I said, and to put all this forward in the service of others. And there's so many things that you can do. Just to finish on that thought, 70% of the services that affect our day-to-day life are delivered by our municipal government.
An important thing for us to all understand, because we know the different levels of government, but our local government is what actually gets things done in our own areas, right? So could you say a little more about that?
Well, originally, local governments in the late 1800s were designed to manage water, and we still do that. So to prevent typhoid, back then, but now in so many different ways to provide sewage and to take care of all of that. So that's its primary role. But beyond that, I find municipal government is very significant when it comes to climate change and also issues, of course, like housing. We don't have the powers we'd like to have for attainable housing so that we can help with folks being able to put roofs over their heads. But so there are all those areas: your parks, your pools, your access to water. We're right on Georgian Bay here. There's so many elements of your life that's affected by your municipal government. But the climate change and climate action issue, tree bylaws, our tree canopy is so important. How we manage all of our natural resources. All of that's in the hands of our municipal government, with the exception of provincial parks and federal parks. But other than that, that's all up to your local council.
Well, I'd like to add there because I've noticed the last couple of years I'll just explain that Paula and I are in Ontario, Canada. Paula is further north of where I am. But I've noticed, Paula, where there's been a lot of work being done in our parks because COVID moved us all indoors. And I found that this year in particular, all the paths are being done. So that direction came from municipal government, right? To do those things, upgrade recreation outside. And
Yes.
that's important to all of
Yes.
us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for mentioning that because and talk about moments of fulfillment. We have a trail here called the Georgian Trail, which some folks who have come up to visit would know, and it spans the entire municipality. And what we decided to do during COVID is to plow the trail. We weren't doing that before, but we plowed the trail because we recognized that folks would be wanting to use the trail in various ways. And the thank yous that came from a $100,000 investment, probably this council term will be remembered because we did that.
I think so. I think so. Very much so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, talking about other areas of your life that bring you fulfillment, could you share some of those with us?
Yes, I thought that I wanted to just sort of touch base with that because of course family fulfills us, but I must say that we with women who've been executives and who've been able to have so many opportunities as women our age have been able to, there are many opportunities for fulfillment. So there's always family, but beyond that, I have found all the learning. I am a lifelong learner, and I'm sure most of our listeners are. So being able to be a lifelong learner and to explore that and to be able to be the best of myself through that has been such a pleasure. Also reading, I find incredibly fulfilling, always have. And whenever times get tough, that's what I do. I go away with a great book.
Mhm.
So also sports, I played tennis until recently, and now I'm playing pickleball due to an injury. But so I think there's many opportunities for fulfillment, and I'm pleased to have been able to have the opportunity to explore many of those
Mhm.
possibilities.
So, two things of interest. What's your favorite type of reading?
Oh my. I actually have one fiction and one nonfiction.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably bestsellers, like some of the good quality bestsellers. I belong to two book clubs, and
Mhm.
some really good quality literature. My postgraduate degree is in English literature, so I'm always looking for good quality books, but we've done well in terms of the kinds of authors that we put out now. And then in terms of nonfiction, which it's no accident that I'm doing what I'm doing. I love to read about business, but I also love to read history and great moments of history and politics. Not surprisingly.
No surprise there. Yeah, and I understand that you come from a pioneer family, right, in Owen Sound. So, yeah,
Yep,
I'm
they
sure
were.
stories
Yes,
are important to you, right? Yeah,
yes,
the
yes,
history of Ontario and the women who have come out of Ontario in the political scene. We've got
yes.
a great history there, right? So,
Yes, yes, sorry. Up here we do because Nellie McClung was born right in the county from which that I reside now. And of course, Agnes MacPhail, who was the first female provincial and federal parliament representative, came from here. So,
so we've got
yes,
quite a history in the neighborhood. Yeah.
yes.
Uh-huh. Paula, you're very busy. So, have you found fulfillment in busyness, or do you have something to share there?
I do. I call this a re-aspirement time. So
Oh,
some people retire and some people re-aspire. And so, yes, I find that having a purpose is so important as we, move through our lives. And I've been very fortunate to have the energy and the strength to keep busy. And for me, because I know in the coaches world, we think sometimes people are busy to distract themselves. I've actually always been busy. And upon reflection at this point in my life, some of that busyness is a kind of purpose that I enjoy. So, but we have to be careful, very careful about what that busyness is. But I have found I own my own business as a coach and a trainer, plus doing this role as municipal councillor. And at this time in my life, I really enjoy being busy.
Mm-hmm. So busy with purpose. And I think that's a very important distinction, right? Rather than busy with distraction.
Yes.
And I think that's a lot that actually women over the age of 60 can pass on to other generations of women about being busy and being busy.
Yeah. Busy with purpose. That's right.
Yeah. So that's a great segue into what is going to become a popular segment of this podcast, and that is the Executive Encore. So every moment matters. Could you please share with us a pivotal moment when you recognized what fulfillment means to you? And at the same time, share with our audience how they can connect with you.
Well, thank you, Patricia. So in respect to this role as municipal councillor, I did have a really important moment of fulfillment in a very strange time. So first of all, I did lose the election in 2018 by 15 votes. So I was appointed by council about a year and a half later. So I had been waiting. So I learned how much I wanted this role. So as I prepared my speech to be part of to be the newly appointed member of council, I was very teary. And I felt, and the teariness was around the fact that I was so happy that I could do this. And that was a moment of fulfillment, knowing that without my having identified it as clearly before, that this is what I wanted so desperately to do. And I was so delighted to do it. And the irony is that I was sworn in March 30th, 2020. It was the first, it was the beginning. It was an empty council chamber.
Oh.
I took a picture of it because it was a completely empty chamber when I was sworn in, and no one had used Microsoft Teams or Zoom. But there I was saying, okay, this is a miserable time in humanity right now, but I'm so pleased to be here. So sometimes we just have to go with what's going on within us. I would be delighted to help in terms of anybody who would like to reach out to me who is thinking of running for election. I am also in the business of referral marketing, where basically talk about leveraging relationships for referrals and opportunities. So both sides of that. Anything you want to reach out to, I have a newsletter. If you're interested in learning more, then please do connect with me at Paula, Paula, at bookedsolid, BOOKEDSOLID.ca.
Mm-hmm.
And please vote on October the 24th.
Great message. I love it. Thank you, Paula. This has been great. And I want to thank our audience today for being with us. Please join me each week as I interview other women like Paula and other thought leaders as well, who talk about finding fulfillment and joy after the age of 60. If you're interested in being interviewed, please let me know. So you can visit my website at patriciamuir.com. Very easy. My name's right there. And read the Executive Encore weekly blog that comes out on Friday morning, and subscribe to the weekly newsletter. So thank you again, Paula. This has been delightful. I really appreciate your time today, and I appreciate your message as well. Let's hope we get more women of all ages out there, not only to vote, but to also run for office as well.
Yeah. Yay. More women at the municipal table. Yay.
Yay.